If your Game Week 1 and Game Week 2 teams didn't quite go to plan and you're looking to hit that wildcard button, then this is the ultimate video for you. And starting off our Game Week 3 wildcard, we're going to start off with the goalkeeper and the defence. For me, in goal, I've gone for Emi Martinez. I think he is just a solid, safe pair of hands that you can rely on in every single game week. We do have Turner on the bench as well, who does look like he is going to be the number one for Nottingham Forest, so we've got that little bit of rotation. I just went for him as I didn't quite fancy any of the 4.5 million goalkeepers. I think my favourite is probably Flecken at the moment, but as you can see on a bench, we do have Rico Henry to cover the good Brentford fixtures because he is a little bit of an attacking asset as well, so could offer us some attacking returns along the way in the next couple of game weeks. The other 4.5 millions, I have Johnson in my own team, and now I'm starting to doubt that with the potential of Dean Henderson arriving at Crystal Palace. There's going to be competition for that first place. I just don't think when you're playing a wildcard you want to be risking it going for one of these goalkeepers. Same with Steele. You know, the fixtures aren't quite there. European football is going to be kicking in, so you imagine Verbergen's going to start getting some game time as well. With that, if he puts in impressive performances, he potentially could come in. And then, you know, Leno is another popular pick, but Fulham have been absolutely leaking big opportunities. Brentford at the weekend got 4 XG against them. I think Everton was 2.7 as well. Yes, I know he hauled in that week, but he picked up so many save points. It was absolutely ridiculous. He is not going to be picking up many clean sheets if his team keep conceding that many chances throughout this season. So I've gone with Martinez. I just think he's a safe pick at 5 million. You know, in future game weeks, maybe when there's a clearer situation on the 4.5 millions or Onana starts to kind of tick into form with Manchester United, then you could potentially move to that in the back line. Starting off, our first defender is Estupinian, a very popular asset this year and has been rewarding his owners in the first 2 game weeks. And I know what you're thinking. Yes, the Brighton fixtures aren't there after game week 3. West Ham at home, then it's Newcastle, then it's Manchester United, but then it's Bournemouth and Aston Villa, and then it's Liverpool and Manchester City. Not great long-term fixtures, especially when you're planning on doing that wild card. But the reason I've gone for him is I think Brighton look mightily impressive over the course of these first 2 games, absolutely ripping teams apart with their playstyle. I think they're going to be massively up there this season, putting in some amazing performances, and Estupinian just seems like one of those players who's gonna get a lot of returns this season. With this team as well, there is 2 or 2.5 million in the bank. I can't quite remember. So come game week 6, we potentially could look to upgrade him to Trippier when Newcastle's fixtures do turn quite nicely. But I think for the moment, he is a player that you want to be having in your teams just because him and Brighton are looking amazing, ladies and gentlemen. Moving on to our second defender, and it is Udogie. Yeah, we're going to go with that. Udogie from Spurs. The reason we've gone for him, the next 3 fixtures for Tottenham are brilliant. Bournemouth, Burnley and Sheffield United, and he massively impressed me in the performance against Manchester United yesterday. I thought this guy was brilliant. Him and Pedro kind of playing like inverted fullback roles, just randomly appearing as well in times, entering the box, having opportunities and just finding pockets of space. It was brilliant to watch. This man at 4.5 million, if he keeps getting into those positions as well with the good fixtures, could be a real diamond in the rough. Only 2.3% owned as well. Spurs looked incredible as well yesterday against Manchester United. Really solid performance at the back as well from them. So you hope with the good fixtures as well, we can pick up some clean sheets and hopefully some attacking returns as well. Moving on to our final defender, and it is Ben Chilwell. Now I know what you're thinking. He was subbed off in the 60th minute today. Don't worry, ladies and gentlemen. I don't think that is going to happen in future game weeks. Well, I hope it doesn't anyway, because the fixtures for Chelsea are great and we need this man in our team. He looks like the most desirable Chelsea asset at the moment because the rest of them, it's a little bit hit and miss. There's no kind of clear players that I would be, you know, outlining other than Ben Chilwell. The fixtures are great. Luton, Nottingham Forest, Bournemouth, Aston Villa, Fulham and Burnley. No team over the course of the opening 9 kind of game weeks is going to have a run like this where they play a lot of the kind of bottom clubs. And the thing with Ben Chilwell as well, his performance today was still quite impressive as well. Picked up a good amount of XG and XA. Hopefully Chelsea can just solidify that defence a little bit. You'd imagine against the lesser teams like the Lutons, like the Nottingham Forest, like the Bournemouths and the Burnleys, he is going to pick up some clean sheet points as well as continuing to get those attacking returns. So very happy to have him. It was a little bit of a concern. Hopefully it's not an injury concern that he has to come off in the 60th minute, but I think for future game weeks he should be fine. Moving into our midfield, and this one is a little bit controversial, and it is Bruno Fernandes. Now, let me explain myself here. A lot of people this week are looking to sell him and Rashford. I kind of agree a little bit on Rashford. I don't think he looks great when he plays in that forward position. This is something I've said from the start of pre-season pretty much. Like, I've said this. When he plays in that forward position, he is rubbish. Absolutely terrible. Bruno, on the other hand, had a great game against Spurs yesterday. If those 2 penalty decisions go for Manchester United, this man is on for a haul because he takes the penalties. He'll be picking up bonus points as well. If he didn't have a 50p head as well, or Rashford had a 50p head, we could have seen a goal and an assist for him. Could have honestly hauled against Spurs. Game week 3, Nottingham Forest at home, then Arsenal away, not the easiest, then Brighton. But after that, Burnley, Crystal Palace, Brentford and Sheffield United. So the longer term fixtures are really good for Bruno Fernandes. And like I said, I like penalty takers. I really like penalty takers, and the data that Bruno's putting up, if he can get like a penalty and start converting them chances, and his teammates can start converting their chances as well, he is going to be a great asset to own. So I don't think he's a sell if you do have him in your teams, and I think if I was on a wild card, I'd still be looking to bring him in of kind of the Manchester United attackers. Not Rashford, I'd go for Bruno Fernandes. Moving on to our next midfielder, and this one isn't controversial at all. It is Saka from Arsenal. Fulham at home, in game week 3, and very similar to what I was kind of talking about with Martinez and the situation. Fulham have been leaking opportunities, so you imagine Arsenal are going to feast, absolutely feast on that performance. We've only gone for one kind of Arsenal player within this draft, as the fixtures are like good, bad, good, bad, good, bad. That's kind of the order that they go in. Obviously, Arsenal have started the season quite strongly as well, still yet to play against Crystal Palace, so we'll see how that one goes and how Saka performs in that one. But I definitely think with him being on penalties as well, he is a player that you're going to want to have in the long term and on your game week 3 draft. Moving on to our next one, and this is where things start to get a little bit spicy, ladies and gentlemen. It is Phil Foden in this team after his majestic performance against Newcastle last evening. Honestly, that front three was delicious. Him, Alvarez and Haaland were linking up so well. If Haaland didn't play like a donkey and just like miss so many opportunities, Foden could have, like, honestly hauled. 9 points was flattering, to be honest, from this man. With the fixtures that City have got coming up in the next kind of 5, looking at this, it's absolutely amazing. Sheffield United, Fulham, West Ham, Nottingham Forest and Wolves. Now, I know I'm not a big kind of City advocate or Pep Roulette advocate. I usually kind of try to avoid this. But with the injury situation to KDB, I think this does offer a window of opportunity to potentially look at some City assets. And you know what? Foden is one that is massively passing the eye test. The data's there as well. That front three is looking absolutely delicious. The fixtures are there as well, ladies and gentlemen. So we could all be hopping on Phil Foden. Still under 10% owned at the current moment. And with that Sheffield United fixture, I think he could absolutely smash the next couple of game weeks. Moving on to a man who has smashed the opening 2 game weeks. It is Bryan Mbeumo, the penalty merchant from Brentford. But open play as well. He's starting to cook, ladies and gentlemen. 16 points from him in game week 2. The fixtures for Brentford are quite nice as well in kind of the longer term, up until around game week 8, game week 9. Crystal Palace, Bournemouth, Newcastle, Everton, Nottingham Forest, Manchester United and Burnley. We've seen how good Brentford are as well. Their attacking display is just continued from last season. Tony who? Like, honestly, Brentford are one of my favourite teams. They look really good. I'm impressed with Mbeumo and Visser, the partnership that them two are forming in the attacking areas as well. they could be a real kind of underlying team this season that performs exceptionally again, going massively under people's radar. And Brian Mbeumo is a player that I want to have in my team because he smashed it this week, smashed it in game week 1, and he's going to continue to smash it over the next couple of weeks if he can keep himself fit and if Brentford can keep cooking. Moving on to the front line, we're going to start off with the obvious contender, and it is Erling Haaland. Yes, I know he only got 2 points, but missed a hatful of opportunities against Newcastle. Like we spoke with Foden, the fixtures for Manchester City are great. You're going to be captaining this man most weeks. Sheffield United, Fulham, Nottingham Forest, 3 there that are going to probably be absolutely like 190, maybe even 200% EO, especially in game week 3, that Sheffield United fixture. Haaland will bag. Trust me, he will bag. He'll get his opportunity. He will take it against Sheffield United. I just think you've got to have him. There's no point going without him. So Haaland is in the team. He's going to be your captain for most weeks as well. Keep him with the pack. I know a lot of people went for Salah this week and kind of reverted around a little bit. But for the next few, you definitely want to be going for Haaland as your captain. Completing our City kind of triple up, it is Julian Alvarez. Like I said, that front three looked insane. Absolutely insane yesterday, ladies and gentlemen, against Newcastle. One of the best defences in the league last year. What are they going to do to teams like Sheffield United, Fulham, Nottingham Forest, and Wolves? What are they going to do to these lesser teams if that front three can keep themselves fit and firing at the rate that they're doing at the moment? They could be cooking, ladies and gentlemen. 6.5 million. If you are watching this as well and you aren't wildcarding and you're potentially thinking, who do I upgrade João Pedro for? I do have a video that came out of that yesterday, so go check that out. But one of the players that I did miss out because I filmed it before the City game was Julian Alvarez. He is a player that I would be massively looking to get into my team. He's a player that I'm eyeing up, him and Foden. I don't usually like playing Pep Roulette, but like I said, with the injuries, with these good fixtures, it's just a little bit too tempting. It's just a little bit too tempting, and I think you just have to go for it. And completing our front line is Nicholas Jackson. Now, again, this is another controversial one. It's all down to fixtures. I'm a fixture man. I love to play the fixtures, and I think you just have to go for him. He didn't look amazing against West Ham today. Had a few kind of half opportunities, but has accumulated 1.34 XG over the first 2 game weeks. You know, there's question marks around who's going to be the penalty taker as well. Now, Enzo has missed, so maybe that's up for grabs for him as well. Luton at home in game week 3, Nottingham Forest, in game week 4, and then Bournemouth away in game week 5. They're really good fixtures. You imagined if he can kind of get his goal and start on a run, he will look really good. The thing with this as well is there is an exit strategy if it doesn't quite go to plan. In game week 6, Newcastle's fixtures turn amazing. Sheffield United, Burnley, West Ham, Crystal Palace. At that point, you could then move to an Isak or a Callum Wilson, depending on which one is looking better. So I definitely think there's an exit strategy to get out of Jackson if those good fixtures and his form don't quite align, to be honest. Right, let's have a quick run through of the bench before we finish up. We've spoke about Matt Turner, 4 million. Areola, another good option at 4 million. Saved a penalty as well today. You know, the fixtures are there for both of them. They kind of rotate quite nicely with Martinez as well. We do have Eze on the bench. Now, I feel he's a player that a lot of people are potentially looking to get rid of in their teams. I'd say hold. In game week 1, he absolutely ripped it apart, had the most shots, most chances created. We're yet to see him in game week 2. See how he gets on there. The Palace fixtures as well, they're kind of good, bad, good, bad. He's one of those players that can kind of rotate in and out of the side, come in when you need him to, on penalties as well, and is the key talisman for Crystal Palace. Rico Henry we spoke about with Brentford's good fixtures, and I really like him as an option at 4.5 million. He might have gone up to 4.6. I can't quite remember if he got a price rise yesterday. He might have done, so he might be up to 4.6. And then we've gone for Botman on the bench. Now, the reason I've gone for Botman and, you know, any kind of Newcastle defender is, like I said, game week 6, we're thinking a little bit more long term with our wild card. Game week 6, those Newcastle fixtures are delicious. Can easily replace Estupinian if you just want to bench him for a couple of weeks. There is that option as well. Rotates quite nicely with Rico Henry, so you've got yourself 2 playing 4.5 million defenders. There is around 2 or 2.5 million in the bank as well with this draft, so you've got lots of wiggle room this season to play with money and bring in any assets that you want. if you did enjoy the content that you saw on today's video and channel overall, please like, comment and subscribe, as I do try to answer every single question down in the comments, and we're trying to hit 2,000 subs by the end of this month. But thank you very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen, and good luck in game week 3.